Hello. In this video, I'm going to be using my new paint. I'm trying to check it out and see how it works and how it performs. This is Naples yellow, and I'm using my large format jelly plate. This is 16 by 20. This is the largest jelly plate available, and I'm gonna get started. I'm going to mix it in with some raw sienna. This is made by Golden, and this is a little more fluid. Now this is also by Lucas. This is orange. And today I'm going to be using my rubber roller. I actually cleaned it, and it's a good idea once in a while to keep the roller clean, because if you don't, this is what happens. It gets really pitted and scarred. I mean, this is useful for creating some interesting textures, but today I want to use a very smooth and clean brayer. See all the three colors blending together, creating these interesting modulations. I'm not applying too much pressure on the plate, just letting it glide. Now, I'm going to use these this is cardstock, which I've saved, because every time I cut a shape, I save these, and I do like certain shapes, so I'm gonna make a impression here. Sort of creates a shadow. which is going to become part of the texture in the background. So I've cut these random strips of copy paper. And I like to draw my lines here. So I'm going to, now that the surface has been textured with lines and shadows, I'm going to go ahead and get my large paper, which is 22 inches by 30 inches. And I'm setting this on the registration marks right here. And I'm applying an even pressure on the plate. I'm making sure that it's even against the paper because I'm trying to pick up the paint that's deposited on the plate. Okay, this is the moment of truth. So as you can see, where I laid the paper cutouts, the cutouts pull off the pigment from the plate. So I have these vacant spots where the ink doesn't penetrate, and that creates a texture. Now I'm going to use this alizarin crimson. Now, this is an extremely thin layer of paint. It's very transparent because I want to let the first print show through. Now I have this little tool which I got from a dollar store, and it has these serrated edges, so it creates these interesting textures. So this is the first layer. If you notice, this plate is very sticky, and it takes a little bit of effort to pull the paper off. And I'm careful not to pull it too quickly, otherwise I will tear the paper. And this is the second layer. And as you can see, there's these modulations of color. When you combine different layers of transparent color, you get this complex mix of tones and textures. Now I'm going to use this cardstock to create an offset print on this area here. I will be using a contrasting color, which is light blue. And as usual, I'm going to make my marks on it. So I just use a mask here so the ink doesn't go beyond this border. I had a little blot there. I'm going to take care of that. Okay, I'm back after a few minutes. It's been about 20 minutes, and I'm going to show you how. See, I have a little boo-boo here. I made a smear, so I'm gonna try to cover it up. This is one of my little tricks. And here I have pre-cut this copy paper with some acrylic ink on it. And these are also pieces of copy paper that I printed out and pre-cut. So I will apply Mod Podge on my paper. And go it like so. Okay. Going to do the same here on the bottom. So I'm applying the glue on the paper here as well as the back of this paper, so you have a good adhesion. Now, many years ago I used to hang wallpaper, and it's really the same principle. Like you paint the wall with a thin layer of adhesive, and then you roll the wallpaper adhesive on the back of your wallpaper, so you make sure that the paper sticks to the wall. I'm doing this. Okay, so I apply glue to this top layer and glue to this bottom layer, and I go like so. There you have it. Whoever thought of this name is a genius, because I think it's a very groovy name, don't you think? Okay, I'm going to let this dry again, and I will be back in a few minutes to continue. Let me show you where we are so far. And if you look closely, you see the very subtle markings of the color produced by the jelly plate. Okay, it's been about 15-20 minutes since I applied this. It dries fairly quickly, which is another thing that I like about Mod Podge. So as a guide, since I added this collage element here, and it's about an inch from the edge, I generally like symmetry in a piece of artwork. So I'm going to make sure that the image on the other side is about an inch from the edge. So I'm going to very lightly draw a guideline with my pencil. And that creates a boundary. So in this little plastic takeout container, I put some of my favorite phthalo blue, and I'm going to use my brush and fill this in partially. So just adding a little bit of water. Just to make this flow more easily. Now I like leaving the texture of the brush. It gives it a more of a spontaneous look. And I will leave a little space here for another piece of collage. Okay. I'm going to use, if you remember earlier, I created a whole series of these collage papers, and I'm going to cut out a piece of this and put it here. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So I'm going to apply the Mod Podge on the back of this. Now, when you do a lot of collage, you have to make sure that the brush is always wet so it doesn't dry out. So I have this plastic takeout container with some water, and it keeps the brush wet. Otherwise, if the brush should dry out, it's gonna be a problem, because this glue, once it's dry, it becomes waterproof, and you're going to have to throw your brush out. Okay. So now you see the artwork is symmetrical on both sides. Let me just turn this around, and there you have it. Now, once more, I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes, and I will look at it and see if it needs anything else. Usually the artwork tells me what it wants. That's how I look at it. And once it tells me it's time to stop, that's when I consider the piece finished. Okay, this is a fat permanent marker, which I got online, and it's used by graffiti artists actually, and it has a nice thick point. It comes to a taper, so you can create thin lines or thick lines. And I'm going to do my scribble on this area here. I like scribbling. Okay. And here's a piece of that copy paper which I made the other day, and that goes here. So we'll take my prime this area with glue. It doesn't have to be exact, but just make sure that it covers that area. And then I will apply glue to the back. Just making sure that the corners are covered, because usually when it tries to peel off, it will start from the corner. So go like that, and finish it off with my brush. Just using wide, even pressure to make sure that the paper is fully mounted. Okay. And here's another pen. Add a little more scribble here. Some little marks there. And I think that's it. I'm going to stop. I'll consider this finished. And I hope you enjoyed this process video. It is kind of long, but it does take a lot of steps to create an image like this, because it's a combination of several techniques: printmaking, collage, drawing. So here it is.